You don't often get a lot of games that have a little biography of the developer on the card inlay. It reads, Frank Johnson was born in Warrington in 1956 and in 1960 moved with brother, sister and parents to Runcorn. After leaving St Francis Xavier's College in 1973, Frank went on to work in a sawmill where he stayed for 7 years. It was during this time that home computers first started to become popular, and Frank soon found himself becoming more and more interested in computer technology. In 1981, the Tandy Model 1 arrived in Britain, and Frank became one of the first people in this country to own one. From that moment on, he was hooked. Very soon, Frank was enjoying huge success selling his highly addictive programs to various software houses, and it wasn't long before he attracted the attention of Imagine, who, realising his vast potential, snapped him up as a full-time writer. Outside of computers, Frank's main interests are collecting coins and, via his TV set, is an avid armchair sportsman. Pedro for the Spectrum is his first major project for Imagine. I bring this up because I can't find a single other game by Frank Johnson, not for Imagine, nor any of his previous highly addictive programs. I can't find hide nor hair of him. I searched all over the internet, and this is the only game I can find listed for him. I looked at LinkedIn, but there were hundreds of Frank Johnsons, and none of them looked like the kind of guy who would write Pedro. There was even a cheeky Frank Bork in there. How did you get in there, Frank? Get back to your own page. I tried Facebook as a last resort, but all I could find was a meteorologist called Frank Johnson. I decided to try my luck with him. Hello, Frank Johnson, the meteorologist. I'm currently trying to find Frank Johnson, the creator of a video game in the 1980s called Pedro. Do you happen to switch careers at some point in the last 30 years? I'm currently making a video about his game, and you're the most famous Frank Johnson I can find. The response was fast, but ultimately disappointing. It's not me. Good luck. There are a lot of Frank Johnsons out there, he responded, while potentially pointing at pictures of clouds on a map. So close, but so far, I responded. Thanks for the fast response. May your day be mildly breezy with sunny skies. No tornadoes. The trail had run cold. I was never going to find Frank Johnson. I would never get the chance to ask him why he made this game such a massive pile of fucking shit. I mean, seriously. Has Frank gone into hiding since this game was made? Because I can't blame him. It's very, very rare that you come across a game that is equal parts too easy, too hard, interesting, boring, and ultimately broken. And I used to like Pedro as a kid. I remember quite fond memories of playing it. It wasn't a go-to game. It wasn't one I was going to slap in the tape deck every day, but it was one of those B-choice games. When you'd exhausted all the good stuff, you could rely on a game like Pedro. At least, that's what I thought, but playing it now, good God, it just made me angry. How can playing something make you angry? That's like the opposite reaction you're supposed to have with a game. There are so many things wrong here that I only need to briefly mention the slightly out-of-touch racist stereotype of a Mexican on the cover. Oh, and on the loading screen. And what's Pedro's job? He's got the menial task of pest control in someone's garden. Of course he fucking has. I'm surprised they didn't go the whole hog and have him falling asleep every 5 minutes. Maybe get some digitized speech in there going, ay, 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 mi sombrero, it's so indispensable. Oh, you know what? I just looked at the story in the game leaflet. It does say, and I quote, "It doesn't look as if you're going to get much of a siesta, so look lively. You can't put things off till manana." Fuck me. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have even mentioned any of this, but my God, do I want to bring up every single thing I hate about this game. Let's just calm down and discuss the mechanics, or what are supposed to be the mechanics before we start. Pedro is tasked with looking after a garden. At his disposal, he has a box of seeds, a stack of bricks with which to build a wall, the irony of which is not lost on me. He also apparently has a pile of compost in the bottom left corner. Yes, this giant pile of purple. Compost is only used to do the same thing as the bricks, and in my case, it's something that I'll only ever pick up accidentally and wonder what the hell it is. Now, One thing you'll notice about Pedro is that the game is practically silent. Aside from the occasional blitter noise, it does, strangely enough, have a very nice theme tune, so the only good bit of the game, basically, is right before you start playing it. And then, oh dear God, where do I even begin? Okay, let's spin the wheel of the worst and start with the movement. Pedro has two ranges of motion. He either waddles along at a pace that's too slow to really react to anything, or if you hold down the jump button, he'll fling himself around the screen like an absolute moron. This is made all the more difficult by an awkward isometric viewpoint. There is no up and down, there's up and slightly right, or down and slightly left, which makes working out where the hell Pedro will end up all the more difficult. Don't worry though, the game adds a dash more difficulty to proceedings by registering absolutely nothing that you attempt to do. Literally everything feels like it happens at random. Now firstly, you're supposed to have the ability to stomp on your enemies. Take these first pests that we have to deal with, some ants. What sort of mad dance do I actually have to perform to kill these beasts? Do they have a health system? Am I just not hitting them correctly? Do I have to press the jump button at the exact correct time? Nothing works. I get no feedback. The pests die randomly, completely randomly, to the point where I might as well just ignore the bastards. It doesn't stop there, though. Picking up a seed and attempting to plant it is an absolute crapshoot. I have to jiggle Pedro around in circles while jabbing the button until he'll eventually just let go of the fucking thing. Plant the seed, Pedro. You have one goddamn job. Just do it. Jesus. Picking up a brick? Random. Picking up a bit of compost? Surprisingly, the easiest thing to do, but you never do it when you actually mean to do it. You normally pick up compost because you've overshot the seed box, which means you then have to go and dump the compost so you can pick up the seed that you actually meant to pick up. But what is the point in the compost and bricklaying anyway? It's got to be the most pointless mechanic in the entire game. When you eventually manage to make Pedro pick up one or the other, you can then attempt to go and build a wall to try and block the pests in on the other side. But it's incredibly slow to attempt to do this, meaning you'll have lost a ton of plants while you're grappling with the controls. But also, it doesn't really do anything. The creatures, for some reason, somehow, will just eat the bricks and compost. They just eat them. They eat them and then they sit there contemplating life for the duration of the level. And each level is basically just a 99-second timer, at which point you're granted a bonus and then thrown into the next one. Each level is pretty much exactly the same, although you do get a change of creature each time. Throughout your infuriating journey, you'll be dealing with every gardener's worst nightmares, unfeasibly huge ants, some sort of cancer-riddled rat, ghost rabbits, cats with their dicks hanging out, and can I just add that cats are obligate fucking carnivores? Why are they eating dandelions? Purple dogs, which are basically just tweaked cat sprites. A goddamn moose that you can still attempt to stomp on. And lastly, there's this creepy wanker. This guy is the tramp. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but tramps are actually a gardener's worst enemy, because it turns out they have an absolutely insatiable appetite for seeds. Seeds. If this dirty bugger makes it all the way down to your seed box, he'll take everything you've got and piss off back under his bridge. For the rest of that level, you can either attempt to jump on enemies, or attempt to build a wall. Don't fucking bother. Seeds are your only way to success. Just keep planting seeds. Just keep going back and forth and keep doing that until the game decides it's just had enough. Nothing else works. Keep the tramp away, plant seeds. Ignore the animals, just plant the fucking seeds. Surprisingly, this works. For all the difficulty that's thrown at you via the game's controls, you could probably get through the entire game by just doing this over and over and over. After 15 minutes or so, I got so bored that I became curious, so I sent Pedro to go and masturbate furiously in a corner and let the animals run riot in the garden. 99 seconds. 99 seconds, and they still didn't eat everything. Their AI seems to be just a random mishmash of movement until they register that a plant is nearby, at which point they'll then go and eat it. And that's it. That's Pedro. It's literally the worst game I've played all year. And I'm starting to think this is some sort of meta joke. Here is a terrible game featuring the quintessential Mexican stereotype and it's lazy, sloppy, and it doesn't work. Bravo, Frank Johnson. Bra fucking vo.